Welcome to He Did This to Me, the sports podcast from a father and son who happen to be mostly optimistic Knicks, Mets, and Jets fans. My name is Nick, a.k.a. Goody, and with me is my old man, a.k.a. the big guy, Noel. And just like his name, all we do is win. Let's get to the show. It's time to begin. Hey, before we get into it, please give us a like and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Me and the big guy, we do this show every single week. And my solo pod, Nick on Knicks, will be waiting for you the morning after every Knick game. Sometimes we go live, so turn on alerts and come talk with us in the comments. We greatly appreciate all the love and all the support. Those Knicks, man.
Yes,
What's
sir.
Tom Thibodeau always like to talk about? That 20-game mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Around that 20-game mark is when we start to evaluate, and the Knicks have now played 21 games. They were 13-8. They waxed the Orlando Magic 121-106 on Tuesday night. They take out the Magic handedly. I mean, from the middle of the second quarter, the game was pretty much over, and the margin that you see, it doesn't even do justice for how, much of a blowout this game really was. We only scored 15 points in the fourth quarter. But Knicks take care of business, and now they get to the soft part of the schedule. They've now won 3 in a row. Talk to me, big guy. How you feeling about the Knicks?
I feel good, but I also realize that, we're going to still have our dips. I mean, this is not going to go perfectly from here, but I still see us winning, 53 to 57 games, somewhere in there, hopefully. I love what I see out of Cat. I mean, he's a fantastic player. I totally, you keep doing that.
He's the big putter.
Totally, yeah, okay.
Sweeping the nation.
Totally, nation at your address, maybe. I've totally changed my view of him. I saw somebody write today, and I like it, that he's really taken on a New York vibe. He's becoming a little more, just a little more physical.
It was Lou Williams. I sent you that post. Lou Williams was saying it in his podcast
Yes.
with him and Michelle Beadle, saying that, he feels like that New York persona, Cat's wearing it,
Yeah. And that's good on him, man. It looks good on him, and he seems to be embracing it. We need that from him. It's only going to get better with Precious coming in within the week. I love the way everybody's playing, but, have to keep it up. Nick, I think sooner or later it gets to them, or it gets to players, that they just have to bring a certain level every night. Now, last year I saw it was a lot of nights we overachieved to attain the record we did, and that was a credit to Thibs, I thought. This year, I think, if we can just play at our level, the level we can play at, we're going to have those 53 to 57 wins, So I'm very excited about what I see. There's nothing not to be pumped about.
I definitely love your point about us just getting to a certain level. And when we talk, what we're talking about is the defensive end, because offensively, most nights, unless it's just one of those nights where you just don't got it, you can't hit a shot, this team is going to score points. Defensively, what we've seen these last definitely couple games, we played against New Orleans and they had, their B or C squad out there, but we still went out and we took care of business. And we saw just the game before that against Charlotte, what can happen no matter who is out there. Like you always say, they're NBA basketball players at the end of the day. What you saw in this game against the Magic was a team that is going to bring it, that has a few people that can score. They're missing their top guy, but they're 12-1 in their last 13. And that they're going to play a certain level of defense. So I was really excited to see the Knicks offense look so good against that defense, with Franz Wagner even saying after the game, like, how hard we are to guard, because you got Jalen Brunson and Cat doing the pick and roll. And then you got so many shooters around. And then in addition to that, the fact that we came out with a certain intensity. And I love the fact that they came out and they hit their first 3 threes. It's not like they were just off from the very beginning.
Yeah.
No, and for a second, it's like, Caldwell Pope looks like he's friggin' Klay Thompson or some shit. And, you feel like, damn, it could be one of those nights. But the Knicks just continued to play D with a certain level of intensity. And if they do that, they're going to win, like you said, a ton of games. And I think it could be upwards of like 60 if they continue to really lock in on the D. And you hear that echoed. Obviously, Thibs is always talking about getting to a certain level of consistency. Brunson's been talking about that a lot more, and he keeps bringing up, hey, on both ends, if we can, make sure that we come out and, we have that intensity from the very beginning and get off to good starts. I thought Brunson's start, his first quarter and his third quarter were fantastic. He scored all of his points in those 2 quarters.
I
He
did
had
not.
21 points overall, and he had 13 in the third quarter. He had 8 in the first quarter.
Love it.
So Brunson made sure that he set the tone
Well,
and that
mind you,
he
now he
put
didn't
the
play
foot
in
on
the
the neck.
fourth quarter.
Right, correct,
Right.
correct. But he didn't score in the second quarter either. I just thought
Right.
that his mindset in the first quarter was like, especially once things started not going our way, he wanted to get us into it. And then he also in the third quarter wanted to make sure he kept that, that boot on the neck. Like I said in my Nic on Knicks podcast, you got to keep the butters right there on their neck and make sure that these teams don't get a chance to come back. But I want to talk a little bit more about Brunson, but I do want to talk about Cat first because this guy is an absolute revelation. 23, 15, 2 blocks. For the season, he's averaging 25 points, 13 rebounds. He's now number 1 in rebounds, as well as 3 assists. He's shooting 53%, 45, 86. It's crazy. He's definitely got some of that dog in him, some of that New York swag. You could see it. And he had a bit of a signature moment yesterday in a statement win by the Knicks. That baseline fadeaway, stop, look at the ref, come on, and then just off one foot, bang. Like that was kind of a signature moment right there. That's
Love
something
that. Love
that
that.
everybody is, it's making the rounds on social media today. People are talking. That's what Lou Williams was talking about when he made that comment about him kind of getting that New York swag. And yeah, I couldn't be more both pleasantly surprised and just also like thankful. Once again, Leon does not miss. Like, don't ever, 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 ever question any of this man's decisions. And I just love seeing him getting into it with Mo Wagner and the switching that he was doing on Franz, where at one point the ball gets kicked to him and he gets out and he switches on him and he gets a hand in his face and he airballs the 3. And then like 2 plays later after that, he blocked him at the rim. And that kid, Franz Wagner, he's nice. He's nice.
He's very nice.
And his brother's pretty good too.
Yes.
And when Banchero comes back, that team is going to be something to deal with. But that team,
be tough.
Even since Banchero has been out, has been the 3rd best defensive team in the league. And the New York offense was too much for him.
Way too much for him. We played tough ball. Listen, this guy Cat, like we said, he's embracing the culture, the atmosphere, that the fans clearly get him revved up. Listen, he's a tri-state area guy at heart, and this is where he's from, so he knows the real. And I just like what we see from him so far. Hey, and Brunson, man, Brunson is just being a leader. He's giving the team what they need and more. And he's just a leader. That steadiness, Nick, that never, he's not an out of control emotional type guy, roller coaster guy. You don't need that. You don't need that at your point guard. You don't need that at your captain. He's that guy. He's clearly, no one can, I don't think anyone will ever, but clearly right now, no one would ever question the choice of him as a captain. He's the guy,
Do you think that you could ever see somebody else? Like, is Josh Hart co-captain material? If Cat is here for another couple years and he's continuing to play like he is, and they're the best dynamic duo, is he the co-captain with them? Cat's he's a Jersey boy. He
don't
grew
get
up a
into
Knicks
that.
fan.
If you get into that, then what would happen is Brunson could appoint lieutenants.
Yeah, nah. Listen, I don't know. I could see Cat, he's got some equity to put in, but I could see at some point saying, Cat, he's the co-captain. Just because he's such an elite player and he seems like such an integral part of the entire just aura and vibe of the team. And I'm telling you, Dad, the more you listen, there's people around the Knicks that are dropping little tidbits about saying to the Alan Hahns of the world. I think I heard Tommy Beer say something like this. They're saying little things about how the Knicks locker room and how there's this difference in it this year. And we know they're not talking about Dante. Okay. So, yo, man,
it's lighter. It's lighter. I'm sure it's lighter. It's more, I don't know, man. I can just see when things went wrong, when Knicks had bad losses last year, how the locker room could have been really sullen. And, I think maybe, Nick, there's a point of some of these guys, and listen, this is how I felt at times, that some of these guys were, weren't always happy with your boy, man, because he, just his style of play sometimes, could be a little grating on the, and it'd drive you crazy. But then he'd do something amazing, or he'd do 4 things amazing. That would be great. But then, he'd bust up your shins. So you never know. You never know with that guy, man. Hey, I heard there's a huge uptick in the last 3 years of the name Brunson for dogs. It was
It's
reported by
not
Rover.com.
just huge. It's number one in the nation.
In
Allie
the
Brunson.
nation.
Allie Brunson posted it. Allie Brunson posted it because she
You gotta love that.
she was like this might be the most awesome thing he's ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah, yo, Mad
I
Brunson.
told you, they win a championship. My next dog, Brunson.
If they win a championship, I'll start doing like my dogs are like I'm George Foreman and it's his kids. Every dog for the rest of my life will all be named Brunson.
Right. Exactly.
Come on, man. Nah,
Brunson
listen.
and 5 of them come running.
Yes. All right. Before I got a couple things on Brunson, but I want to point a couple things about Cat as well. First and foremost, less stupid fouls.
Well, the last couple games, Nick. I mean, come on.
I feel like
2 games ago he was making stupid.
Was he?
Yesterday,
some like silly offensive foul shit where he's just like slapping some kid in the head as he goes past him.
Right. Just take it here. Take this with you. You know,
yo, he got called. He actually did get called for one charge yesterday where he absolutely threw an elbow for no reason. He was just annoyed at that moment and he threw the elbow. And speaking of Brunson and being a leader, I thought that it was really cool. Did you see at one point when Cat was pissed and was going at the ref, Brunson stepped between him and the ref and Brunson said to the ref, just talk to me because Cat was pissed.
Right.
Cat just got
Cat was about to get attacked.
He was about to get attacked. And he did get attacked a couple plays later, which I thought was super soft with him and Wagner. Come on, man. Just step in between them right now. Tell them to chill out, but they can clap. Let's be
not
serious.
Like they actually slapped one another.
They're playing basketball. They're a little emotional. They're two big men being physical. And that's one of the things I love about Cat. He is so willing to be physical. This is a part that I didn't necessarily think was part of his game. You know, as somebody who had watched him, you know, casually over the last few years, basically when he's against the Knicks, I saw him taking a lot more just like early in the shot clock, not wide open threes and shit like that. And I've seen people break down, you know, his overall shot chart, and they say he is on the Knicks definitely making more of an effort to go to the hole. And he goes to the hole with those long strides. And he
Rudy Gobert isn't down there in the way.
Exactly. Which, you know, we'll see how that works out when Mitch comes back. But yeah, he's definitely a player who has the total package offensively and defensively. I feel like he's giving effort and getting better. The Knicks have all made an adjustment defensively where the last few games I feel like they're a little bit more in the right spot. Some of it's pure effort. And they're hustling more and they're putting more effort to, like, you know, make that second and third rotation a tough one. Just make that guy make a decision as opposed to just sit there and camp out and be wide open. They've definitely made an effort on that. A lot of that is McHale and a lot of that is Brunson too. Brunson stepped up on the defense here recently, but also I think that Cat has gotten a little bit more adjusted to what we want to do. And definitely in last night's game, and I saw it a little bit against New Orleans as well. Now, neither team, I mean, listen, Orlando has pretty decent big men. So, you know, New Orleans, not so much, but I feel like the drop coverage is something that he's figuring out a little bit more as far as where he needs to be. And Mikal Bridges is doing a much better job of fighting over those screens. And, you know, what we're seeing from Cat is something that we've never seen before. Again, listen, is this, we got to say this. Is this another center that Thibs has leveled up?
Nick? He played his best ball. He even credits Thibs to how he coached him way back when. And he said as much as, you know, I was immature then, so a lot of that shit he couldn't take. And he recognized some of that coming back into this. And listen, it's obvious, Nick, that the Knicks Brain Trust looked at this guy and they looked at it and said, if we get this guy back, we can do this, this, and this. We can get this guy to level up because of this. You know, like kind of like how hopefully the Mets pitching staff is doing with like guys like Mania and Sevy, you know, and they're going to do with Montas. We'll talk about that. But you know what I'm saying. They've clearly made decisions on how they're going to deal with some of these big men. And it's worked out so far. I mean, it's worked out. I mean, this guy, Hartenstein, he really needs to give, like, with that huge-ass contract, he needs to be, like, funneling Thibs at least $500,000 a year, just tax-free money. Here you go, man. Thank you. Just thank you, man. Thank you. You know? Or buy him something fly, Nick. Buy him a car every year, like a $75,000 car per year. Come on, man. You're making $18 million. What is he making? $30 million a year almost, right?
Yeah, he's making over. It's in the 20s for sure. It's like 27, I want to say.
He can buy this motherfucker a Jeep Cherokee or something. Come on. and a Grand
You
Cherokee
think
at that.
you think Tim should be collecting like a vig for all the
Dude, he changed his life.
he changed his life. He changed his life. And you know
I
what?
mean, bright skin got paid.
Yeah,
So
yeah, he did. Yes, he did. He did. And the Thunder are looking great out there, and he's looking well himself. And I look at this guy, Cat, and I love his game. This is a wild thought, Dad. But what do we got to do to get Cat to spend like a week living at Elijahwan's house next summer?
I mean, look, I kind of feel like if it, I mean, to do what? To get a little better footwork down low? Is that it? The camp? I mean, it's almost like if it ain't
If it's
broke, don't break it, Nick. Come on.
no. If it's good enough for Kobe, it's good enough for anybody. Okay,
Right. So, okay, he goes and does it. That would be great. But, does it fit into his plans? He
that
might have a plan, a trip to
defense,
Egypt plan.
the defensive shit, he can fucking teach him. That's what not just the offensive shit, the defensive shit. Remember what the defender Elijah one was? He led the league in blocks and steals
I
in the
know
same
that.
season.
But I think some guys are just natural with it, Nick, with that anticipation shit like Mitch. Some
Sure,
guys
sure.
are just good with that shit, man.
That's
I
true.
mean, but I will say Cat's effort is fantastic defensively.
And he's a monster on the boards.
And his boards are just like fantastic. Man.
In
He's
traffic.
just very strong hands.
I saw
Very
him
strong
snatch a
hands.
board from Josh Hart last night.
Yeah,
Where,
yeah.
like,
So did.
yeah, yo. And
Not many
speaking of
people do
Josh
that.
Hart, speaking of Josh Hart, I mean, this guy, he can just he can. You know what I noticed? I thought about last night is that with this offense and this 5 out and this much space, what he's able to do typically in the full court, he can now do that in the half court. There's a couple times where he would get a smaller guy on him in the half court, and he would just, the lane would be wide open, and he would just be like, all right, I'm going to take a couple dribbles at you, Euro step, and I'm going to go up on either side, and I'm going to get a finish. And he's just so fantastic at that. And he is both on the court and off the court, I feel like, for this team, a connector. He's just he does everything. I mean, really, when you look at him, like, what position does he even play?
Yeah, no, he's
point guard, shooting guard, power forward.
He's the smallest power forward ever, but he plays the position. He plays the position. You're.
I know.
But
the sun is setting behind me. I gotta adjust the lighting.
Is that what?
Yes.
What it is? Yeah. Okay. Bye, Jersey. But these things, yeah. He's just an amazing player, and he plays with the best of emotions. And listen, man, I like that. The Bridges anti-Bridges hive has calmed down a little bit. Let's take it easy, and let's realize that this guy's a good player, man. Like I said, he's going to play to the back of his card.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that when you look at Josh Hart and you look at Bridges, you look at, all of these guys, they're all the type of people that they play the game a certain way. With Bridges, the issue was he was kind of just, it seemed like he was getting away from that, and he wasn't playing the game that certain way. Now he has woken up here recently. I don't know exactly what happened. I think the fact that his teammates came out and, spoke up for him, the fact that it kind of hit a fever pitch.
And the coach.
Yes, and the coach, of course. And then it hit a fever pitch right after, that game in Charlotte that we, only won by 1. And, he had a tough road trip, was struggling with the shot. But then when you start to see the lack of defensive effort, that's never going to fly, in this town. So at the end of the day, he heard it. And then I love the fact that he responded the way that he did. For it to be at that fever pitch where Josh Hart is having to talk about it in the post game, and he's being asked about it, and he's saying that he knows he needs to step up and he needs to be better. And like we said, you were like, what does he care about Twitter? Dad, these cats these days, when everybody's talking about it, they hear about it. I don't care if they try to stay off. They might not be reading the paper like back in the day, and maybe they're reading, but it was enough. Like Josh Hart said, I know you guys are killing him. They know. And the fact that he responded to that by going out there and having his best game and then following that up with another good game, I just think that's a great sign about his mental fortitude. You know what I mean? It didn't make him crawl into a shell. He came out and said, all right, this is what it is. And, stepped it up.
Well, look, you're going to get wherever the attention comes from these days, which is, social media, not the newspapers, obviously. You're going to get 10 times the attention playing for the Knicks than you would have for the Nets. So
sure.
When it comes down to it, that's what it comes down to. So, that's all it is. I mean, just deal with it or stay off it one way or the other.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That I'm just glad that he responded the way he did. You know, that to me that's so important. And that three that he hit at the end of the first half, was that should that have been an assist for Cat, do you think? He did not get credited with an assist for that. He didn't have an assist on that.
The announcer was saying that he thought it was a hell of a pass. My first impression was it wasn't a pass.
It was absolutely a pass.
Then when they showed it over and over again, it looked like it could have been a pass.
And Alan Hahn said it's definitely a pass, and it's a play that they clearly practice for that situation. It's the Kristen Leitner play, and it's perfect. Cat's the perfect guy for that because he's got great hands. He can catch it right there, and he can turn and shoot. Or if they overplay and the guard slips into the spot, and the way that I saw it, like Brunson was another option on that play, but McHale just made more sense. So I love that.
Who's Rudy inbound there?
Josh Hart. And Josh Hart was smart enough to you could tell they practice it because he takes the ball and he goes off to the right side. So he's not underneath the backboard. So he can't throw it and hit the backboard. And then, he gets into the quarterback position. Josh Hart probably loves shit like that. Probably loves
Maybe you should put McBride on.
As the one throwing it. They should. They should. He's got to be the best at it. That's for sure.
You would think.
Yeah. I don't even know if he was on the floor at the time, but yeah, no. I just thought that overall, the level of intensity in a game that whether you are into the NBA Cup or not, I definitely think that the players know about it and care about it and think about it. You know what I mean? Like they comment about wanting to get the money. And I also just think that overall, like I see a certain level of intensity that ratchets up when they have this NBA Cup.
Right. No, it definitely intensity ratchets up. Anybody who says that doesn't realize that is stupid. They're lying. Listen to me, man. This is over $500,000 for each team. Over $500,000 for each player.
Right.
So like they were saying, so a guy like Hook Porty, this is a lot of his salary for winning this tournament. I mean, this means a lot to them. And listen, Josh Hart, did you read what Josh Hart said? It's like,
I'm trying to get a watch.
Found money bound. Yeah, you're gonna get a watch listen, I don't know what kind of watch he's gonna have million on or a new car, but you can do both of those things, obviously.
I think he was talking about the Audemars.
What?
The Audemars? Isn't that how you say it?
Audemars Piguet. Yeah. You could get one of those watches, but I don't know. I think Josh Hart has it right, and it means a lot for a lot of guys on the team. So they need to. It would be great if they make it happen. I think it's 200,000 something for the losing team players. That's still pretty nice. And then like 100,000 if you made it to the Final Four.
Oh, I didn't know it was for the Final Four. I thought it was just the winner and runner up. Hey, man, I think at the end of the day, if you can get the paper, get the paper. You know what I mean? Like, and also as athletes and as competitors, like, why wouldn't you just want to win everything? And that's what Brunson said. Like, we treat every game the same. And I thought that, Thibodeau's coaching it like that. That for sure. Right. So I don't see why they would handle it any other way. And, I'm sure the Knicks will go out there and they'll give a decent showing. Who knows? Maybe they'll lose that game to Atlanta and then we're out and don't even go to Vegas. If they do go to Vegas, I don't know, man. We might have to figure something out.
Nick, the final game is on a Tuesday evening. First of all, the 17th.
I didn't know that.
And I mean, I don't know what the tickets are going to cost. I mean, at the end of the day, it would be great to see him and everything, but we did just see him here in Phoenix, and winning that championship, I'm not getting weepy over that. Okay, it's not going that way.
No, I would not get weepy, but I mean, still Vegas.
Vegas would be great.
Come on, still Vegas. It's Vegas, and it's going to be just flooded with Knicks fans. That Knicks fans are going to show out more than anybody else.
That could be kind of cool. I mean, that weekend or whatever. But I'm not going to go and stay for Tuesday night, so I don't think I would go. And watch them in a semifinal game on Sunday.
I might have to start prospecting some clients in Vegas that I need to see while I'm there.
Now that might work.
You know what I mean?
Write it all off.
You know what I mean? Let's not talk about that too much. All right. So yeah, man, Brunson, the other thing I noticed from him is he's doing a little change of pace a little bit more, I think, Dad.
Yes.
He's slowing down. Because he's not going at that. I feel like this season so far has been going 1,000 miles an hour all the time. And he was getting annoyed with this guy Suggs. Suggs is a good defender. He was definitely
very good defender.
He's a very good defender, but he was also fouling Brunson some and not and there was Come on, man. It was getting my nerves at certain points. But I love in the third, he really got in his bag. There was a couple times where he made Caldwell Pope look silly. Where he faked the screen and then rejected it and went with the crossover back and then hit the fadeaway. Yeah, he was doing his thing for sure. Just the consummate leader. He's averaging 25 points, 7.7 assists. He's going to get that number up over 8. He's going to be 25 points, 8 assists. You combine that and you look at Cat's numbers and it's like this is the best duo in the NBA. And I love what they were doing in the pick and roll yesterday. Brunson only had 4 assists, but 2 of them were beautiful assists to Cat in the pick and roll. That one where he made that like pocket pass that led to Cat getting the dunk. And then he had another one. He's had a couple oops to Cat even recently. But I think by the time you get to the playoffs, man, and the game really slows down, just God willing, if we could have those guys healthy and those 2 in the pick and roll late in games with all of our shooters and our guys who know how to cut. One of the greatest things that I've seen from Brunson recently is that game, which was kind of like, the Mikal Bridges redemption game so far. Brunson was trying so hard to get him involved. He was finding him nonstop on all the cuts. You could tell he went out there with that thought process in mind. Clearly it worked.
Nick, everybody on this team right now plays smart basketball, plays moving and cutting basketball. And it's incredible, Nick. And listen, I don't mean to keep making this an indictment on Randall, but it's incredible when you have one player who doesn't do that, it changes the whole dynamic. The fact that everyone does it on this team, I mean, frankly, like you're saying, how does this change when Mitch comes back? It will, because, when Mitch is on the court, it will change somewhat. We'll be better defensively in certain situations, but maybe not as fluent offensively, because we won't have 5 guys who are playing that type of ball. Although, for a man Mitch's size, a big man like that, he moves well and he does what he needs to do, where he'll basically stay on the baseline and he'll attack the basket when anyone's going to the basket.
Yeah, but all those cuts that are happening from OG and Mikal aren't happening if he's down on the baseline.
Right. They won't be happening nearly as much, and that will be one guy who's not making cuts to get a pass.
It's not even just that he's not making cuts. It's just that his man won't have to stay glued to him at the 3-point line like they have to with Cat.
Yeah,
that's what opens all of this up.
Yeah, I get that. So at that point now, that'll be another adjustment for people like Cat. I'm sorry, but Brunson and
OG and Mikal.
OG and Mikal, because they're going to have a lot of chances then when they get clamped down on to drop it off to Mitch for a dunk, potentially for the Ute, if they can make the pass out of the double team. Right there. Mitch is going to have that opportunity. It's going to happen because they're going to turn their back on Mitch. So we'll see.
Yeah,
I think Thibs can coach him up.
I think that OG's played with Mitch before to some success. I think the biggest adjustment will just be like how the style of play might change. I think it's going to be hard for the team to adjust with centers with such drastic different styles of play from when one is on the floor and one to the other. I think that's something that they'll figure out, but I think there'll be a little bit of an adjustment period there. And then also, as we always say, it'll be interesting to see against certain teams if Thibs decides to go ahead and go Twin Towers and what that looks like. So there's going to be a lot more to figure out, especially with Mitch. I think that Precious, who is supposed to be back any day, is going to be a much more seamless insertion into the lineup. And if Bridges can just continue with the active hands, being in the passing lanes, fighting through screens, if he can do that, the offense will take care of itself. This team has realized, I think, that especially early in games, maybe he's the type of guy that you got to get going. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where it's like, let's feed him. Let's run some plays for him and stuff like that and let these other guys do their thing. And Cat just continues to dominate. Brunson continues to dominate. And my guy Deuce, man.
Wow.
Yo, listen.
I almost don't want to talk about him because
what
the fuck? Sometimes I'm like, holy shit, is this guy gonna miss?
But one of the things about him when you look at his shots, and like you said, it seems like he never misses. He also almost never takes a bad shot. All his shots are good shots. And is there anybody better at a pump fake, side dribble, step back, and then shoot a 3?
Amazing. And he always squares up, Nick. It's that Huggins shit. I told you. Huggins, he's a good coach, and all his players play that way.
Well, coming out of college, that was the book on him was that he couldn't shoot. And then he worked on that, and he's made himself into not just a reliable, but an above average shooter. He's shooting like well over 50% since he's come back from the injury. And in addition to that, what was my biggest criticism of Deuce last year. Do you remember?
His
Where
handle.
I was always screaming, he does not have an NBA guard's handle. He didn't deal with pressure 94 feet. And he also would get very, very skittish, even in the half court when he got, in any sort of traffic and picked the ball up. He clearly is a fan of the show because he worked on that this summer. He must have got the Dribble Up app or some shit.
You got to Dribble Up, I'm telling you.
Shout out to Dribble Up. Yo, sponsors Dribble Up. My son uses Dribble Up and he dominates this league. Sponsors Dribble Up.
I just sent Dribble Up to my man Ed Booby Ferguson for his grandson.
So we out here spreading the word.
Because it was good for N.I.C.
We spreading the word for Dribble Up. Sponsor
What's
your
up?
boys. What's up?
What's up?
But no, man, for real. Yo, his handle that is so much better. It's so much better.
It is.
It's tighter. It's tighter. And I saw him yesterday come up and like do some like hezzy, you could tell he's confident with it. Like he's not. And that lefty reverse joint he did a couple games ago.
Oh my gosh. The deal is with that Huggins shit, Nick, is that if you play for Huggins, what I knew, because he played for Huggins, because I've seen Huggins as a coach for many years, he's going to be a worker. He's going to be a worker, and he's going to be able to take the pressure because that guy Huggins, I see he puts some of the major pressure on his players, man. I mean,
how far back do you go back? How far? The oldest Huggins that I remember is Cincinnati. That's when I remember him from.
Right, and before West Virginia,
like Kenyon Martin,
Cincinnati, Kenyon Martin. And he was somewhere before that. I don't remember where, but he was somewhere before that. But he's a good, hard-nosed type. And I was like, yeah, this guy. And listen, it kills me, Nick, when I think about the narrative that Thibs doesn't play rookies or young guys. Dude, think about all the young guys. Grimes just gave Thibs credit the other day. He said, they said something to him, and he said, well, credit to Coach Thibs for that. He always made me play against the best offensive player against the other team, and I got confident, all this other stuff. Grimes, Quickly, RJ, Deuce, our man Mitch. These are all young guys that came in and got good time and built up and learned under who? Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, the whole not refusing to play rookies thing, I think that he's shown that he'll play rookies if they're ready to play.
Right.
And typically what happens is that over that first season, there's a period where they got to earn some trust. And, then they get to that point. And, we've heard Deuce say things exactly like that to Huck Porty in the middle of games. So, definitely, that's been dispelled. I know that last night, I don't know if there was anybody who's not a Knicks fan that at some point in the third quarter said to you, thought, about when the starters would come out of this game. And then the Knicks come out in the beginning of the fourth. And like I said, they only scored 15 points total, but they scuffled a little bit. Game got a little bit closer. The Cats and the OGs are in the game. People in Twitter and certain chats are going crazy talking about get them out of the game. I had no problem with Thibs' rotation last night because the thing is, what you don't want to do is you try to sit these guys from the beginning of the fourth quarter, and now they really storm back and they get it to a point where it's like it's now 17 and there's 8 minutes to go, and you got to bring the starters back in. That's a disaster. That's the worst thing. So I had no problem with his rotations last night at all.
Nick, I got no problem with his rotation any night, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because everybody thinks they're a coach, dude. No, everybody thinks they know better than him.
Yes, that's the whole reason. But that's what we're doing right now.
I know.
Everybody that we talk about is more accomplished at what they're doing than we are.
I know that, but some guys you just got to give that respect. And when it comes to something as
your guy.
Arbitrary as minutes,
that's not arbitrary. It's not arbitrary, and it's not something.
But you see, Nick, it's so easy to say, "Oh, you should get them out of the game," and then exactly like you said, if things go wrong and we lose a game, then everybody's screaming about that. Look, the guy just has to coach every game.
Okay, we have 3 players in the top 10 minutes.
Okay, you keep bringing up that stat. Obviously Thibs doesn't care, and I'm right there with him. But I get it, man. No, seriously, I get it.
We're
going to have to cut down the players. We're going to have to cut down the minutes when we can. We just can't right now. I mean, it's not like we played 20 games and we're 18-2. Okay, we're what 13-8. I mean, that's pretty good, Nick, but it's not, we're not world beaters at this point. So, I mean, I get it why he's playing guys minutes because he doesn't want to lose the game, and he doesn't want shit to slip away. But yes, it would be nice if he figured out more. We need some more players that are more reliable. And I think that happens as the season goes along and more of these guys get minutes. I mean, Daddy, now he's going G League, right? So that's good for him. He needs to get some
He
more
used to
time there.
play. And
Just like what's his name did. Remember that the same thing we did with McBride.
yeah.
You know, that
And
first
Deuce
season he was
killing
killing it.
the league. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I continue to, whenever I see Dottie, the thing that always jumps out on me is that I feel like he's a capable NBA defender. And I see him, move his feet and stay in front of guys. He's got decent size. And I really love the combination, Dad, of Deuce and Campaign, because they both just allow each other. Like I feel like Campaign like brings out like something in Deuce. You know what I
So
mean?
annoying.
Because he could be, and he's so exuberant that I feel like he gets Deuce playing a little bit more free and loose sometimes. And I think that when they're both on the floor, neither of them are asked to do too much because they can both do what the other person can do. So it's like, no, you bring it up. No, you bring it up. No, you shoot. No, you shoot. So I feel like that allows them as well to play a little bit just more free flowing. And when that second unit, I'm telling you, we can get a little bit. What I'm really hoping for is Precious cutting down on OG's minutes. I would like
we need that. OG looks spent sometimes.
He looks spent sometimes, yo. I'm not even worried about Mikal. I'm not worried about Mikal.
No.
And I'm not even.
He doesn't sweat that guy.
He doesn't. No, he never breaks.
Very little, Nick. Watch him, man. He's
bone
dry at the end of games.
Him and Josh Hart. Josh Hart. I don't. His minutes, but the OG being in the top 10 in minutes is a very big problem in my opinion. That's something that we need to not have be the case.
We need to cut down OG minutes. Sure.
Yes. 100%. And hopefully Precious will do that for sure. He is the backup 4, and we know that Thibs trusts Precious, and that Precious will answer the bell. And again, when we're talking about Thibs and the fact that we need to just trust him, got to talk about my man Sims. Sims is now.
Sims is stepping up.
Stepping up. He heard that he listen, he answered the call as well. And Thibs continued to show faith in him, continued to know that he, had the ability to first and foremost just absolutely defend the rim. He's now 33% against in the paint. The next person is above 50% in the entire NBA. He is by far and away the best paint defender in the NBA statistically this year. And now he seems to be able to, at least someone catch a ball, or if he doesn't catch a ball for a dunk, be able to throw it out to somebody. I think it was to Deuce, and he hit a 3. There was one play where Brunson made a beautiful pass to him and he fumbled it, but then he threw it out to Deuce and he hit the 3. But Sims is definitely stepping up, and he's looking like a very capable backup center in his league. And you know what? At some point, like I heard somebody make the point, like at some point when everybody's healthy, he's our 4th best center.
4th? Oh, what do you mean with Mitch, Achua, and Cat, and then him? Yeah. Well, Cat first. But yeah, listen, this is another proof perfect of everybody shut the fuck up and let the man coach. Okay, everybody scream, Hulk Porty. Why
no one could ever,
me included.
No one can disagree. No one can disagree with Thibs. It's like
me included. I was screaming more Hulk Porty. I was wrong. So was everyone else.
Yep. Me too.
Listen, and this guy, you know what, Nick? We have to understand that. Listen, the thing with a coach is if you believe in the coach, you believe in the coach, and you know that he's seeing things and knows things about these guys that we would never know. So he knows that Sims has this in him. He believes he has it in him. And obviously he has more faith because he spent 4 years with this guy. And he believes he's seen the progress, and it's starting to show on the court. Hopefully he keeps it up, man, because his progression on the defensive end is fantastic, man. I'm really surprised with what I see from him. Very pleased.
So last week after wearing the beanie, and then I did one Nick on Knicks with the beanie and the black shades, and everybody's coming at me with the Brunson.
So now you're losing the beanie. I told you that.
I'm not. No. I'm not losing any sort of beanie. I mean, I'm not going to wear. I'm not strictly beanie. I'm not strictly anything. I always mix it up a little bit. With the hair, with the hat. That's really all I got. That's all you can see. So I gotta have a little bit of swag with it. But yeah, I like the hat. I do see there's a time where he wore a hat very similar. I've got friends sending me videos about how Brunson and I laugh the same as well. We both have larger than average heads. Similar skin tones and long hair, but other than that, I mean, totally coincidental. There's no effort on my part to try to look more like Brunson, that's for sure.
Okay.
I mean, I'm his elder. If anything, he wants to look more like me.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, but Knicks with a statement game, man. And now we play Atlanta, and if we win against Atlanta, then we make it into the Final Four, I guess.
We play Atlanta next week. Tomorrow we play who is it? Charlotte?
Tomorrow we play Charlotte again. Yes, Charlotte comes to the Garden. We play Atlanta next week for the NBA Cup.
Right. Well, we play Atlanta for that level, and then if we win next week, then we
well, that's an NBA Cup game, I should say.
Right,
and then if we win that, then we get to Vegas.
You know what I actually looked into today? Because I was just thinking on the way home, me and your mom were driving home, and I was like, so, who could the Knicks possibly, let's say, I could dream. If the Knicks made the finals, who would they play in the West? Now, let's face it, Nick, you and I would hope and pray that the Suns make it to the finals, right?
Yeah, sure.
We'd be at games.
Sure.
But what other games could we possibly go to? Obviously, LA, any of the LA teams. We can go to that if we had to. There's no Vegas team. We could go to LA game, or at least one game.
Yeah.
What about Oklahoma City, 14-hour drive.
But no, I wouldn't.
What flights are like?
No.
We can see what flights are like. But
Way.
Oklahoma City is within reach.
Okay, see, yeah, that's within reach. And then anywhere else, I mean, look at it. Just be a short
flight.
Yo, man, look. If the Knicks make it to the finals, Dad, I'm gonna do everything in my power to try to get back to New York and go to a game. And I realize that the cost to get into the Garden will be bananas. I will call every connection and ask every person I possibly can in the entire world. And I will, even if I got to be like up in the top of the rafters, like,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it'd be worth
it. But then what do you do? If they win it all, now what are you staying for, a week to go to the parade?
No, well, if they win it all, we'll be paid.
Right.
You know what I mean? Shout to DraftKings, but yeah, man. So hey, if that's the way, that's my hedge really. Is like, okay, I go to this game and I spend all this money, but if we win it all, then I don't know. A lot of decisions would have to be made. A lot of things.
Well, at that point, if you're planning to do that, then you plan to go to you buy a ticket for Game 6 and something like that, or game, depending on where the game is.
Right. And
just stay over.
Listen, I definitely have clients.
If they get to the final, we can figure it out.
I definitely have clients in New York and New Jersey.
Yeah,
so that
we'll figure it out. We'll be there.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. Faux show. But yeah, man. Hey, let's go Knicks. Keep it going. 13-8. When we get to the soft spot of the schedule, let's run off a couple. Rattle off some wins real quick. Let's go get us a cup. And, I just hope that the defensive intensity stays locked in. That's what I'm really going to be looking for. Now we got a game against Charlotte. We just, almost lost to them, had a nail biter against them when they didn't have, 4 of their top 6 players. So now it's time for us to come out and just take care of business. Another game, 3 games in a row. Boom, just take care of business. Do what you got to do.
Nice.
And I think that I see a change in mindset with this team, and I hope that what I'm seeing is correct.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
New York Jets lost to the Seahawks 26-21. Geno gets to get the W over the team that drafted him. Leonard Williams is the player of the week against the team that drafted him. And the Jets just continue to figure out different ways to lose games. Talk to me, Big Guy. How you feeling about the Jets?
I think earlier in the game, in the first half, I texted you, I have a sneaking feeling that the Jets are aggressively trying to figure out a way to lose this game.
That's exactly what you texted me.
And, it was just like, I could just feel it coming down. And it was just like, holy smokes. These guys, man, I mean, they're just a poor team, Nick. They're not well run. They're not well run on the defense. Well, the defense played okay early on, but then obviously, again, the other team made adjustments. We clearly couldn't make any adjustments.
Zero adjustments.
Offensively or defensively. We were great offensively. They figured some shit out. We couldn't adjust. Our offense, Nick, is old school. It's old school. You brought this up weeks ago. It's old school. You need to incorporate more movement, more something, but we can't keep running this Vince Lombardi offense. Okay?
And it's not simply the fact that we don't execute. It's also the fact that we don't do anything to ever get anybody going this way and then we go that way. You know what I mean? Nothing is that.
It's just a question of I have to beat you one-on-one. There's no I'm beating you because you're over there and you didn't realize I was over here.
Right.
None of that. And everybody does that to us. We don't do that to anybody. And I'm sorry But
I
first of all,
can't believe you're finally coming around on this. I've been saying this since last season.
well, I'm coming around on it, Nick, but you have to realize why this is. This is part and parcel, and I mean, I hate to say it, this is part and parcel to Aaron Rodgers.
Of
The only
course.
reason we run this offense is because of him. So that's my point to you, is that next season, if somebody else comes in, new coach, new offensive coordinator, new all that, we're not running this shit offense anymore. So I don't know if he's going to adjust, but, I mean, listen, Nick, the other thing I noticed about Aaron that drove me crazy, and listen, the offensive line, they're not giving him the protection he needs, all that. But they constantly get beaten by the same type of blitz all the time in a big situation. And part of that is that our offense sucks, but part of that, man, he sees it. He knows it. He has to know it, but he doesn't adjust sometimes, or he freezes, or I don't know what, but he can't throw the ball deep, Nick.
Okay. So as
He can't
far
throw the ball
as
deep.
every
ball is underthrown. Every deep ball is underthrown.
I've seen a lot of deep balls get overthrown. I mean,
No. He overthrows balls, Nick, when it's like 25 yards out that way. But then when he throws up the sideline to someone running up the sideline, they got to step, like Garrett Wilson did on one play this game, and Devontae Adams. It's like he's throwing it a back shoulder, but he's not throwing a back shoulder. He's just not leading the guy out there. I'm telling you, watch.
I've seen the plays that you're talking about. I think that those plays he was trying actually to throw a back shoulder, which actually I don't know if it was the smartest thing to do at the time. And clearly, as they keep saying, they're not on the same page. But the two deep balls, whether it be the one to Garrett Wilson or the one to Devontae Adams that Devontae Adams seemed to catch initially but didn't catch, were both balls that he just overthrew. I mean, Aaron Rodgers Rodgers has not been good. That's a fact. Okay.
No.
I also don't think
best.
But I also don't think that it's fair to think that I don't think that there's any chance that he at his age could be good with this type of offensive line play. And I think that also the vanilla of the offense, and that's Aaron Rodgers. That's it was Hackett before. Now it's Downing. It's to me, it's everything up to the top because we're not dictating. And we're not going and getting coaches because we think they're good coaches. We're getting coaches because we want to make this guy comfortable. And obviously that wasn't the right decision. I can't say that I felt that way in the moment. If anything, I thought, hey, why wouldn't you want to get everything to get this guy comfortable? But when you look at it and you look at the vanilla offense that we run, it's hard to see how anybody could be successful in it, but especially not with this offensive line play.
Again, I hate to say it, Nick, but somebody was more successful with it last year.
Who?
Nick, the play from the quarterback position last year for us up to this point in the season was better than it is now. Simply because the man could move. And
I don't believe that.
He's been terrible.
I don't feel that.
And I'm not saying Zach Wilson is better than Aaron Rodgers.
But I just don't even think. I think that watching Aaron Rodgers this year, it's better than 95% of the quarterback play that I've seen from the Jets.
Aaron Rodgers, you're living on game 2, man.
No, I'm not.
Game 2 was great.
I'm going
the whole
off of what I see all season.
Been.
I don't think he's been great. I don't think he's been great, but I think he's better than. I think he's better than Sam Darnold was on the Jets. I think he's better than Zach Wilson was on the Jets or Mike White or any of these guys. I just think he's a better quarterback than them.
He is a better quarterback, Nick. He hasn't played as well. He just hasn't played very well this year.
I think in a Jets uniform, I think that his quarterback play has been better than theirs. That's just
okay.
I don't think it's been. It hasn't been anything. It hasn't been 75% of what I thought I was going to get out of Aaron Rodgers. But I also thought that the offense, both last year and definitely this year with what we did in the offseason, I thought the offensive line was going to be a lot better. And they're not. You know what I mean? And I thought the running game was going to be a lot better. And it's not.
Well, it's an indictment on the coaching, like we've said a million times. This offensive 100%. Line coach,
but also
got to go.
Sometimes the players, though. I mean, listen, that's right. Breece Hall, that fumble, that was the turning point of the game right there.
Come on, man.
And that was his second fumble. He got away with one earlier in the game, which he should have smartened up then.
Yes.
And that would have been a crucial one as we were going down to drive. But the two, biggest plays were that fumble right there, and then obviously Aaron Rodgers throwing the pick six to Leonard Williams, where he gets to run it down the entire field.
Where before that, he just grossly overthrew a wide open Garrett Wilson, in the end zone,
wide open.
I mean,
he could have thrown that
ball.
Other
quarterbacks you named did that. People would just be screaming about that, and
they did do
about it with Aaron.
About it, yeah. I did do it. I screamed about it then.
Yeah, but you know what, man? Nic, he gets a pass on certain things because he's Aaron Rodgers. Because you always think,
I think
well,
it's the opposite. I think if anything, he gets more. He gets more hate because he's Aaron Rodgers. He gets more of a microscope because he's Aaron Rodgers and more
hate because
expectation
of who he is. But it's just, man, I think this guy. And listen, I don't think there's any doubt that he hasn't made us better in that he's not a quarterback that lifts us. You know, listen, we've had 5 games now. This is an indictment that was pretty sad. 5 games now where we've had the ball at the end of the game where we could win the game, and this is exactly what we brought him for, and we never even get close to the end zone.
Yeah, but if you look at this last game, and some of the other ones are like that as well, it's not. I mean, he had zero chance to be able to do anything in that last drive.
Nic,
he just didn't.
I'm
not saying that. I'm sitting here
you.
telling you that he played badly earlier in the game, and that if he, makes a couple throws and doesn't make that one huge mistake that we don't win that game, all of those things are true. The offensive line on the last drive, it was an absolute jailbreak at him every single. I'm surprised the guy made it out without some sort of like broken clavicle or ribs or some shit. And he was getting crushed.
I think if you go back, you'll notice that I say the exact same thing about Zach Wilson last year in many games, and your response was, Zach sucks. He just sucks.
That's not true. I said the offensive line sucked for Zach.
You agreed with that too. You agreed.
I said the offensive line sucked for Zach, but I also think that Zach Wilson made some of the stupidest decisions in the fucking world and was wildly inaccurate most of the time.
Yeah, well.
Not some of the time, most of the time. That's all. That's what I
think Zach Wilson's, what was his completion percentage? What was it like compared to Rodgers this year?
I'm not sure, but I don't think completion percentage. I don't think completion percentage necessarily speaks on accuracy. There's a lot more things that go into that.
Okay.
There's a lot of guys who have great speed. He might have a decent completion percentage, but all of his throws are dump offs to the running back. So that means he's so much more accurate. No, I think that Aaron Rodgers throws the ball down the field a lot more than he did.
Yeah. So now you have to think to yourself, in my opinion, we got to play Tyrod Taylor. We have him for a 2-year. I mean, at some point for a couple games before the season's over.
Zero chance. It's not going to happen if Rodgers is
healthy.
If healthy.
But why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? We're not sure what we're going to do with Rodgers.
And Rodgers is already saying that he wants to come back next year and play for the Jets.
So what? That doesn't mean we have to keep him.
I'm not saying it doesn't mean we have to, but right. I don't think that going into next year, you're better off going in with Tyrod Taylor as your starting quarterback, this journeyman quarterback who gets hurt a bunch, and you want to go in with him over Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's a better option. I think if you could find me a better option, tell me. If you think that Tyrod Taylor is a better option than Aaron Rodgers, I think you're bugging.
I don't know at this point, Nic. I'd like to see him play at this point and see how he can play, because there's a chance to me that he could be as good as Aaron Rodgers is right now and definitely be more mobile. Okay, and definitely be a lot cheaper next year. And Aaron Rodgers, you're going to take the hit when he leaves. But you know what, Nic? You know who actually figured this out? Anyway. You're right. You know who figured this out and did it right, and who's doing it right is Sean Payton in Denver. He ripped the Band-Aid off with Russell.
Or maybe he just couldn't coach Russell up, because look what
maybe
Russell
he couldn't coach Russell up. Look what Russell is guy.
But look what Russell is doing right now.
That's right. But he saw his
Russell
guy,
is
Bo
better
Nix.
than Bo Nix right now.
He saw Bo Nix, and he brought him in, and he could have him on the cheap, and he could still build up the team, and he's had a great draft class.
Yeah,
they were going down the stretch.
Yeah, but now we're talking about the future. They'd be a better team right now if they had the version of Russell Wilson that we see on the Steelers. He's better than Bo Nix.
Yeah,
Russell Wilson is one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now.
He's doing very well. Very well. But I just think they did the right thing in moving forward. My point is, I think they did the right thing in moving forward.
Yeah,
I think sometimes when you make a mistake, you just got to rip the Band-Aid off. And Aaron Rodgers was a mistake.
But the rest of the Jets, the Jets have too many players that are at that point where you can't be looking a few years down the road, because we're going to run out of money. You got to try to get this done in this next couple of years while these guys, before they all get big up and get these next contracts. And we need to. The Jets are not in a situation where it's like, hey, let's start from scratch and let's burn it down. The Jets are like, let's plug in a few spots and get to the next level.
I don't think we have to burn it down. I don't think not having Aaron Rodgers is burning it down. I don't. I think
no,
there's
but
many other people.
I'm comparing it. I'm saying as far as
to the Russell Wilson situation.
Yes.
But what I'm saying to you is that I think you can have another quarterback start next year, and who can play on par. I said Tyrod Taylor. I think there'll be other free agents like, frankly, your man Sam Darnold will be a free agent, but I don't think Minnesota's going to push him out the door. I'm not sure who, Nic, but I think Aaron Rodgers brings a lot more with him than just his mediocre at best play. So is the juice worth the squeeze, as they say? All the bullshit that comes with him and all that. And I just don't think, Nick, it's apparent to me.
Yeah, but all that bullshit that comes with them,
I can remember talking about him.
I can remember you saying
it's
like
not
that's
his fault. It's not
and
his
saying
fault.
like
That's
I don't
not
care
the
about any
issue.
of that, and that he seems like
I
a great
do care
teammate,
about it when the team sucks,
and like all these guys love him.
Yeah, but you know what, Nick? I thought about that too. Everybody loves Aaron Rodgers, but I don't see nobody talking about loving him so much right now. And all that love don't mean shit. And all the time, Robert Saleh told us, and I was a believer, how much these guys love one another, and that they're going to play hard because the character in that locker room. That hasn't materialized to shit. So I don't know that I'm putting a lot of stock in any of that right now. Okay? I'm being real.
You said to me via text that you just want the Jets to lose every single game at this point.
I said that, but I was angry at that moment. I listen.
You never ever were that way.
Anytime I watch a game, I want them to win. But I only felt like that because, listen, Nick, because I feel like we have to start. I think we can be okay next year. I just honestly think, Nick, that we might be a better team with a middling, suitable quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. I just don't think he adds enough.
You make the things around, but okay. So if he doesn't add enough in relation to his salary, because you're going to have to pay the big cap hit anyway.
No,
so therefore, if that's the case, you make the team better around Aaron Rodgers. You don't try to make the team better and then also go out and as soon as I just need an answer on who, and Tyrod Taylor is not it.
Okay. Also matters, Nick. Okay. Who are you bringing in as coach and GM? And I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to see anyone come in and acquiesce to this guy because he's Aaron Rodgers. Install your system the way you think it should be run.
I agree with that.
Okay, that's it. That's all I'm saying. Don't come in and say, okay, have this guy Downing back or Hackett back, and we're going to run, this 1956 offense again. No, stop.
I'm with that.
Okay.
Sauce had his best game of the season.
Yeah.
Fucking with DK, he played pretty well. But yeah, man, hey, tough times in Jets land, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Tough time.
And what's going to end up sucking is that we're going to end up getting like some stupid wins where we end up like we miss out on Shador and Cam Ward, and then we end up having to draft like Stryker or some bullshit like that.
Yeah. That's going to be a problem because we're gonna. So
I don't listen.
That's the thing. No,
I think if the plan is to bring Aaron Rodgers back next year, then I think you don't draft a quarterback.
Well, and it's also too, Nick. It's going to be the evaluation of this boy Jordan Travis.
Yeah, that too.
He might be
also, like I said, this is my stance going into this year's draft. Like, another person who had a good game, Olufashinu.
Yeah, he did. I like what I'm seeing from him. He's growing.
That's good.
Good.
If that's that Tyron sucked, and that really sucked for us. But
that's the other thing. Yeah, we've got to go on a total build, Nick, where bringing in aging veterans, man, especially in certain positions.
Yeah. Not
it just doesn't work. No. Offensive linemen, bringing in aging guys.
Okay, so then that first pick needs to be the other tackle, and you got to think that him and Olu are the two guys. Honestly, even if we are moving on from Rodgers, you know what I mean? If you're not going to be able to get Cam Ward, and you're not going to be able to get Shador Sanders, and you end up still going to have like a top 10 pick, I think you got to go tackle. That's my my opinion.
Maybe.
I'm always go tackle. That's always my opinion. Go draft a tackle.
And listen, the football team starts right there, man. It starts at the offensive line and then the defensive line.
As we've seen, that's if you want to make a middling quarterback look good, that's how you do it. Is with the offensive line and the running game.
We need a big body on the inside and the defense. Now that I think you can get with a free agent guy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's the type of thing you get with a free agent guy.
Yeah, and we got to get a more legitimate bopper at middle linebacker.
Yeah. What's his name is finished. Mosley, he's been great. I like him. But he's finished.
It's got to go.
Yeah, he's going to retire or become a coach.
I don't know if he's necessarily.
He might play somewhere else, but not for
us. Not for us. Did you see that Izzy got picked up by the 49ers? Izzy Abanikanda?
Oh no, I didn't see that. Wakanda. Okay, good for
Wakanda. Him. He's going to end up doing some nice shit for them because they scheme him up. Whoever they plug in over there does well.
Great offensive mind. He's very fast, and we'll see some things. Hopefully.
Yeah. So the Mets got a new starting pitcher, Frankie Montas.
Yes.
Frankie Montas is a guy who's been a little bit up and down. He dealt with a lot of injuries early in his career. There's a history with him and Stearns because he was in Milwaukee. And, this is one of those where you look at some of the advanced metrics and you go, I don't know. But what you feel is, hey, maybe we could do the same thing with the Manaya and with Sevi, and we can now do it with this guy. And that's just having some trust in the system. It doesn't always go that way. There's also that guy Bauer that we brought in last year. We tried to do the same thing with him, and he was fucking garbage and off the team in short order. So you're not always going to hit on that, but we gave this guy big money, $17 million per. So obviously the Mets think that they see something in him that they can unlock and get him to be a consistent guy. And really, if you go after one more top of the line starter, and let's say you bring back either a Manaya or a Sevi, at that point, you're looking at Frankie Montas to be your fifth pitcher. So, hey, I'm okay with that. What I need from him more than anything else is give me 150 innings. You know what I mean? Like, give me 150 innings and be a guy that can eat innings for us. And, hopefully we can once again find lightning in a bottle and, coach this guy up.
Yeah, I trust in Stearns' judgment here. Last year made me quite the believer of his. I mean, I need a couple shitty years to have him fall out of favor for me. So I like what I've seen. I mean, this guy Montas has talent. You just have to channel it and hone it. But I hope he can make it happen. All I know is, man, I'm just like, I'm dying to see my phone with you texting me or something coming across, say the Mets have signed Soto. I mean,
and I just saw
everybody's on pins and needles.
I saw an alert today that said that the Soto news not imminent.
Right. Okay, but I'm thinking, Nick, by the time we do this show, say we do it next Wednesday, Soto will be signed somewhere. So we'll know something.
I have no idea, Dan. I have no idea. You never know.
Happen, man. The winter meetings are when? Monday?
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday. Come on, man. Soto's in somebody's house, because then everybody, listen, the whole league is really waiting for this guy.
All the hitters.
So everybody's going to sit on their hands through the winter meetings, Nick? All these GMs are there?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
He's going to sign.
I hope so. We'll see. I mean, really, it's up to him. I mean,
starts with a 6.
I hope that's what they're saying. I can't believe he's going to, to me, Ohtani with the pitching aspect as well and the fantastic hitter that he is. It's like, how is Soto approaching that same amount of money? I don't get that, but
it has to be an anticipation of TV money that's even greater, Nick. And also, I don't know. People are just coming up with, refining this whole
with the deferments and shit.
Deferment situation. Yes.
Yeah.
Stevie Cohen's got some guys, the best accountants in the world working on this.
Crunching numbers.
Capologists.
Yeah. Come on, Uncle Stevie. Get it done.
Get it done, Steve.
Give me him. Bring back Alonso. Give me a top line starter and build out my bullpen.
I was just thinking. Suppose you had Soto clean up, Vientos before him.
No. Soto's your number 2 hitter.
Okay, so Soto's number 2. What? Vientos, then Alonso.
Yeah, buddy.
Lindor.
Soto. Vientos. Hold on. Is Vientos one of these guys because he's Spanish? We pronounce the V as a B.
That's what I thought. I mean, all Spanish. In everybody
Spanish. Else calls. You're the only person I've ever heard him called Vientos. I mean, Gary Cohen calls him Vientos.
Well, I don't know.
You're out here trying to flex your Latin skills and shit.
You know what I'm saying, bro? You need to be a little bilingual out here.
You're an idiot. All right. So yeah, hopefully the Mets, we get that news, we get Soto, but Frankie Montas, hey, I'll be interested to see what they can do with them. What seems like the biggest story in sports right now, everybody's talking about it on all of the different shows. Trevor Lawrence got absolutely rocked by this guy, Azeez, last week. Trevor Lawrence is now out for the season. There has been a lot of different opinions on this. This guy, Azeez, does have a bit of a history. I went and I looked at his compilation of his different hits, and they're all even like dirty in different ways. It's not even like a Vontaze Burfict thing where he's just like rocking people. Like he hits Brady in the throat with like a freaking like a thumb to the throat at one point. Like he's doing like a cat's way out of bounds and he's rocking him, some shit like that. And I've even seen some people come to defend him and say that Trevor Lawrence slid a little bit too late. Brady talks about how quarterbacks need to protect themselves more. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Like when you saw this hit, what was your initial reaction? And then also, do you have any sort of reaction to the statement that the NFL put out about Mr. Azeez?
Initial reaction, I thought it was dirty. I thought the statement was a little heavy-handed, but I think the statement and
What? Suspension?
suspension was really part and parcel to his recidivism, him being a repeat offender.
Yeah.
But all of that said, I listened to my man Bart, and he made some really good points. He brought up the point that, Nick, first of all, this guy is a much smaller man than Trevor Lawrence, right?
Sure,
But now
sure.
look, you don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to try to run you over, although he might. He's a decent sized guy. You don't think he's going to run you over, but you also realize with quarterbacks, he's probably going to try to give you a juke at the end or something like that. So what do you do if you want to stop that? You know you can't hit him high. You can't hit him anywhere here because if you get him anywhere here, you're going to get called for something. If you get him anywhere, like here and up, so you can't tackle him high. So you're going to go from, and he's making this decision, Nick, while this man's still standing up because they showed it slow frame. He's making a decision while the man's still standing up that I'm going to go for his legs, and he puts his arm out, as Bart was saying, because you can't run and tackle somebody like this head first because that's illegal. You can't go for the man's legs like this. And he said then, and if you go for a tackle like this with your shoulder, he said you can do that, but sometimes, a lot of times that you mess up your shoulder going for that if the guy goes low and gets you with the knee, whatever. But you can do that, especially if it's a running back, and you take them right out, right at the knees, right at the ankles. You're diving for the ankles, and you take people out. He says people tackle people like that all the time, and they do, because they were showing something about it on I don't know if it was Get Up or something, and they do. The deal is, and he even brought up the point that, listen, man, look at the way, what's his name, Mahomes makes fools of people sometimes with that little quick move at the sideline, and you look stupid, and he brought up like the Vince Young thing where you think you got him, but you don't pull him down because you don't want to get the penalty, and now he runs for 40 yards. So it's a very tough spot. And what Bart was saying was he thinks it's wrong for this decision and this heavy-handed statement to be coming from someone like John Runyon, who's never had to tackle anybody like that, who's been an offensive lineman his whole life. And he said, I guarantee you talk to people who have to tackle people, they understand, but that's not to excuse it. He said, Bart even said, he deserved to be ejected. He deserved to get a suspension. Maybe not 3 games in his opinion, but, because that's a lot of money now, Nick, that this guy's losing, And listen, the repeat offender thing, that's what did him in more than anything, obviously, man. You don't get any benefit of the doubt when you've done the things he's done already. So that's what it is. But, I think some of these quarterbacks, like somebody brought up, hey, how about this? Quarterbacks can't slot anymore. Bart and Han were talking about that. Why not make the rule that quarterbacks can't slide? So guess what? If you want to run as a quarterback, you're at risk.
Sure.
If not, you go down in the backfield. Or
Brady said something similar.
You go down when nobody's within 5 yards of you. You can't be doing this cute shit and then be pissed off when you get smashed. I mean, Nick, he was diving for that man's legs. And in that split second, he went down and he happened to catch him in the head.
So what I saw initially, I was like, wow, that was a crazy dirty hit, especially when you see it in real time.
Sure.
Then I see it slowed down, and I think to myself, Trevor Lawrence did slide a little bit late there. Okay, he did slide a little bit late after this guy.
2 steps ago.
After this guy is already projecting himself at you, in my opinion, from just what I've seen, and I did hear Bart talk about it, and I agree with him most of the time. But this time I don't agree with him because I think that forearm at the end, to me, is what made it be just like over the top. He goes at him and he's there. And at this point, okay, I understand you've already projected yourself. Now the man is underneath you. His head is right there. That's the case. That's right there. And then I feel like he finishes through. He finishes through with the
when
forearm.
He jumps in the air, you think he was making that decision then to whether put up his arm or not because of where his head was?
No. I think his arm is up. I think now when he is making contact with the guy's helmet, he does not just continue to go through with his body. I think he finishes through with the arm and tries to give him the business. Well, I think he tries to rock him a little bit more there, and whether he tried to or not, that's what he did. That's what he did. And at the end of the day, it has to come down to the end result more so than the intention. And I understand that they're trying to protect the quarterbacks. The people that come up with these rules are the people that stand up in those boxes, and that's their biggest investment. And they want to make sure that those guys are good. And at the end of the day, like you said, that repeat offender shit, if you go look at his compilation, the dude definitely lives on the line. And, people always say that Vontaze Burfict was like the nicest guy in the world off the field, but he was dirty as fuck and ended up basically getting him out of the league. And, one of the greatest videos you can go watch is go look up videos of Antonio Brown pre-Vontaze Burfict.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, he's doing interviews. He seems like the nicest, most he seems like a somewhat demure, chill guy. He's like, whatever. Yo, so he fucked up something with that dude's brain chemistry. I definitely believe. Listen, that's a fact. That's something that we've seen throughout we know that when you have significant brain injury, for some people, it does totally change your entire impulse control. A lot of wild stand-up comedians. You go back and they got hit by a car when they were 5 or some shit like that. I'm telling you, there's a through line there. I think that sometimes brain injuries can often affect your just your wiring and especially your impulse control. And clearly, impulse control is something that Antonio Brown very, very much struggles from. And the Vontaze Burfict hit on Antonio Brown is one of the most vicious hits of all time. If you haven't seen that in a while, you don't remember it. But I just think that at the end of the day, like you said, repeat offender. This guy, you're going to get suspended. He might appeal it, get it down to 1 game. And I think that, now, especially with Trevor Lawrence being out, I don't think he won't win that appeal. I think he's going to get all 3. And, I think that's going to end up how it ends up playing out. And he's got to make an adjustment, whether it's intent, whether it's bad form. He's got to figure something out to not put himself and his team in that position moving forward.
He does. Another thing these guys suggested, okay, quarterbacks can't slide. So in that situation, if you're you go straight down to the ground if you're head first. And that way, there's really nothing the defender can do. And you would
no,
have
but now if the defender is going at you as well, now you guys are getting head to head.
That's a problem. But you'd also then have to make the rule that the ground can't cause a fumble, because then the quarterback could just boom go down to the ground. But listen, man, it really does come down to, and I think we've been coming to a meeting at a head for this for a while. Is the quarterback a football player or not? If he's not a football player, then keep him in the pocket and he's protected there. But once he comes out of that pocket, man, the other guys have to be able to play.
Right.
It's enough already with the rules about receivers and so forth. That's incredibly difficult for these defensive players. But the rules for quarterbacks are just outrageous. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear that. I hear that for sure. Hey, give us a like, give us a subscribe. If you're checking out, share it with your friends, tell everybody. But yeah, man, just hit that subscribe and hit that like button for us. The other story in sports right now that everybody's talking about is Rob Manfred was talking about how at an owner meeting, there was a bit of a buzz about a potential golden at bat rule. A golden at bat rule, which means that at any time at one point in the game, you are allowed to take any player and bring him to the plate, no matter where you are in the order. I'm pretty sure I know how you feel about this, and I'm probably sure it's similar to how I feel. And also, but before I get to you, I got to ask you: did you by chance see our guy Francesa's reaction to this?
No, I saw the headline saying that he would stop watching baseball. Okay, Mike. You want to stop watching?
Hold on. I got the quote for you. Francesa said, "The day that they adapt the golden at bat rule, baseball and I cease to exist." Okay.
Oh yeah. So okay.
End quote.
Okay.
I thought that was so funny.
That's great, Mike. That's great news. I mean, I don't know how we're all going to keep living, but we'll find a way.
I'm with him though. I'm with him. I mean, it's asinine. It's been almost universally panned. I don't know if I've seen one person be like, "Yeah, this seems like a really good rule."
No. The guys on Sportsman like this morning when I was driving to work, they love it.
On who?
Evan Cohen and Chris Canty. They love this idea.
Oh well, Chris Canty's a bit of a hack. I
don't like it. I'm not a fan.
It's absurd. It's baseball. Yeah. You can't be changing the baseball rules, man. They've had the same. That's
the pitch clock. People screamed about that. They brought in the pitch clock.
I know, but the pitch clock doesn't change stats and like the way that the game. It's just all it does is it sped the game up.
Extra innings thing.
I hate that. I hate it.
Yeah,
I think
know.
it's fucking
I'm
stupid.
okay with that. I've gotten over it. That's good. Let's go.
I hate that. I
Shorten
hate that. And, I don't think they should change anything. And I definitely don't. I mean, this to me is like, what are we talking about? Is this a Nickelodeon game or something like that?
Yeah.
Is this like what are we fucking talking about? Like, there's no way. And Rob Manfred, there's no more hated owner, or commissioner in all of sports. And he consistently just fumbles everything. Like that guy, keep the microphones away from that guy. Every time he gets in front of one, he says some shit that has everybody up in arms. Baseball, it seems like here recently has been able to get a little bit of an uptick, after just, continually losing its hold on the American people. And this right here, this is not it. And I think that this will really, really just turn away a ton of purists. And I am seeing now that it's like, it's something that is not anywhere close to being implemented. It's only been talked about casually.
Yeah. It's surely not going to be next year, but I don't think it'll.
No. And it's something that would get tried out in the minor leagues for a few years before it ever came up. And I honestly, especially with how the reaction has been to this, I don't see how. And I'm telling you, I'm guessing that Canty and these guys, they're probably the types that just don't even really like baseball at all. Because those are the only people that are going to be like, oh, this is a cool idea. People that are really into baseball.
Yankee fan. And Cohen's a Met fan. But also, too, the stupid part is the name is stupid. The Golden Bat Rule.
Golden at bat? Yeah, the Golden at bat is stupid. It's very stupid. You're right. All right. Last but not least, we got to hop into a little segment. You got to play the averages, people. Big Guy has a couple tough weeks in a row. Guess what he's going to do next week? He's going to come out here and he's going to go 3-0. He's going to go ahead and sweep. He's going to move his record over the last 10 weeks to 22-8. And he's going to do that in a little segment that we like to call the Big Guy Locks. All right, Big Guy. 3 picks against the spread. Let me pull up my DraftKings here and go ahead and get these spreads for you. Talk to me, Big Guy. What do you like?
Okay, so this is a tough week. It really is. I'm trying to stay away. Actually, I think I want to lay the points with the Vikes against Kirk Buggins because things are going south for him. Okay.
So you think he goes back to his old stomping grounds and gets stomped?
Yeah, gets stomped. Vikings defense is good, man, and your man Sammy D has been doing the damn thing.
So Vikings -6, is that what you got? That's what I got right now on DraftKings.
Yeah. I love the Eagles, but I don't think I can lay 13.
And you've been riding the Eagles here recently.
Yeah, the Eagles.
I got them at -12.5 right now.
Yeah, I don't think I can lay that much. And what's his name is playing better, the quarterback.
Jalen Hurts? Yeah.
No. The quarterback for the Panthers.
Bryce Young.
Yeah, he's turning it around. I like what I see from him. As much as I'm disgusted with our Jets, I don't want to bet against them. But I do think I want to lay the 2.5 on the road with the Seahawks against the Cardinals. I think the Seahawks are playing pretty well.
I got them at +3 right now. Seahawks +3.
Okay, so lay the 3. I think the Seahawks are playing pretty well. And then I gotta ride the Bills again.
Wait, so you want the Seahawks +3? So you want to take the 3?
No. The Seahawks. Oh, that's right. The Seahawks are dogs. Definitely. Yes, I want that. I want the Seahawks +3. I'm sorry, I misread that.
Okay.
And the Bills. What do you see as the line on the Bills Rams?
I got the Bills -3.5.
Yeah. I want to go Bills there. They get into a little warm weather. Josh is feeling frisky. He's throwing passes, catching laterals. He's going nuts. Let's go. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So this week's Big Guy Locks. You like the Vikings -6, the Seahawks +3, and the Bills -3.5.
You heard it here first.
All right, people. Make you some money. Catch us every week on YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts. Please follow, like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that notification button on all platforms. Really appreciate all the love. And you can find us on all socials at he_did_this_to_me. Love you, Big Guy.
Love you, kid. One more thing, though. Happy 118th to the oldest and the coldest. If you know, you know.